Welcome to another edition of the ISB podcast. Very special edition because today we are covering both Copa America and the Euros
Ooh, the
semi-finals.
combo action.
And I'm,
Okay.
of course, your host, Sahil. I brought Rahi, who normally does our Euro videos, and Roy, who normally does our Copa America videos. We're bringing the world together, boys. World
From
together.
sea to shining sea.
A little wider than that. It's the whole world. The whole
Okay.
world.
Crossing several seas.
Several
Roy
seas.
looks very South American. He's wearing the hat. Look, see, I'm in the collared shirt, very European, so it's appropriate.
It's a perfect mix of both, and we had a very
I don't
exciting day of
think you look European.
semifinals. Well, we'll figure that out later. But very exciting day of semifinals today. We'll start with the match that actually was later, which is the Copa America, and then we'll go back to the Euros. So we started off with an opportunity for the Canadian fans. I know we have a lot of Canadian viewers out there, a chance to make one of the biggest upsets in the history of world football.
It would have been.
And
it would have been.
And it turned out it didn't exactly go that way, boys.
Nope, it did not. Roy, we're left singing the usual song. Ole, 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 ola. Something like
Muchachos. Beautiful.
You should know the
Beautiful.
words. Learn the words.
I know the words.
Okay.
I don't want to confuse you guys with a different language. I'm sorry.
Or something like that, or we can something like that.
So let's talk about this match a little bit because Jesse Marsch and the Canadian national team gets a second shot at a team they've already played, and normally when we've seen that historically, it makes the second match much tougher, right? We've seen that with Turkey and Brazil in the World Cup in 2002. They played twice, and the second match was a very cagey affair. This one I thought didn't really go to plan for the Canadians.
It wasn't much of a match, was it? Canada was tough, just like the first game in the first half. They were defensively pretty sound. They pressured hard. They made it difficult for Argentina, you could tell they were trying to preserve energy for the final. Let's be real. From minute one, they weren't going 100%. They always seemed to be at 88% this entire game. And that's all they needed. But that first half, Canada did the same thing they did in the first game. They quieted the midfield. They forced Argentina to kind of play laterally, to involve the wingers, and then they'll close down the wingers. And there weren't many chances created until Alvarez broke through. But I thought what was weird to me is Jesse Marsch in the second half kind of threw in the towel. He takes off Jonathan David for Tani. Yeah, he does. He puts in a guy with 17 MLS matches for Jonathan David. He lost Alphonso Davies, obviously. He subs in Chouanier, who, again, isn't a national team caliber player at this point. And he brought in, I guess it's all he has, but the substitutions very much felt like, let's give these guys some time in a Copa America. I see them being big parts in the future, but in that game they had absolutely no impact. It was the wrong substitutions at the wrong time when you're trying to tie a game. It was very strange.
Created more chances after the subs. He subbed Jonathan David because, let's be honest, the most disappointing player for Canada this entire tournament has been Jonathan David. Jonathan David, presented with chances, has not delivered. He had the one goal, right? But he had a chance early in this game, kind of put it right into Emi Martinez. He had some moments where he was in good positions. His touch let him down a couple times. To be honest, I think that Canada should have expected more from Jonathan David, and they didn't get it. Now, granted, this is Argentina. They're world champions. This was always going to be an uphill battle like no other. But they could have got more. They had some promising positions, and it was actually Jonathan David, in my opinion, who didn't take advantage of those situations. I thought they created more chances after he was subbed off.
Yeah, so I would agree. I would agree with that point with Rahi. I agree with that substitution, and I liked, I liked Tani coming in at the end too. I thought they did create more chances. Where Roy, with the substitution that I'll agree with you on is, I do believe taking Schaffelberg out was a little weird.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
I didn't see that because I thought, despite him not having as much of an impact as like what he had in the previous matches, he still was very dangerous. You saw that one move where basically if they had called it correctly, he was going to be free down the line, because the ball was just on the line.
And at that point, you need to keep on the players who could produce a moment of magic. Canada really only has a couple guys, and he took one of them off, and the other one got injured. So what are you doing taking Schaffelberg off, the one guy that could produce that magic that you have left on the field? It doesn't make any sense. It was a bad decision from Jesse Marsch.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings me back to my original point from a couple videos ago, which is Canada seemed overly lucky in this tournament. A lot of people are giving credit to Jesse Marsch, saying this is the Jesse Marsch effect. It's his tactical influence. I really don't think it is. I think today he showed he's still quite novice when it comes to coaching. He's been coaching for a while, sure, but he hasn't succeeded in many places. Let's be real.
What was he so angry about? He was really angry in the first half. I didn't understand. I thought he was going to explode. He was so red. He was the red of the Canadian flag, that red.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well, what was he mad about? I don't remember.
He just seemed angry, like really angry.
I think he might have been mad at the way they were playing, and then that boiled over. Obviously, DePaul was doing some.
He was mad at a call.
The refs as well.
Yeah.
And then DePaul was doing some antics, by the way.
Yeah, but DePaul had an incredible game, by the way. Some of the balls DePaul played.
Oh God, he was so good.
He was good, but I'll be honest. He's doing some like very dodgy stuff, diving.
He's a bit of a dirty player, Roy. I would say
in that capacity,
like,
rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But that
he's very Argentinian, is what you mean to say.
Yeah.
So look, I think it was the match started off, and it was at that point in time you think, okay, we're going to see something different. I think the one thing that teams who are underdogs, and in this case Canada, needs to learn a little bit is when you're facing a team that's a lot stronger than you, passing the ball around and trying to look for the perfect opportunity is not going to get it done. And this is true of every team. You have to be a little bit more risk-taking, and you have to let some long shots fly, and you have to produce forward motion. And that's the thing that surprised me with some of these teams sometimes, because I'm like, you're down a goal or down 2 goals. It doesn't matter if you think the right pass is going into a specific direction. You have to make the more incisive pass and try and give it a risk and see what happens.
Argentina was extremely smart. This is not the Argentina of old, right? This is a very intelligent team. They knew exactly the way Canada was going to play. They let Canada have possession at times. They let them even control the midfield in moments, right? Just so they could draw Canada out and then spring the ball over top. And then it opens up space, Messi in space, eventually find then Alvarez in space, one-on-one with Bombito, and then it's over, right? And was very intelligent, I thought, by Argentina to allow Canada play at times. Yep. And Canada fell into the trap. I would have honestly loved to see Canada just play a low block, sit in deep, and then play over top to Schaffelberg down the wing or something more like that. Because I thought they had a false sense of control in this game, Canada. I thought at times they looked like they were in control of the game because they were in control of the ball. But Argentina was very comfortable. It's what they did to Croatia in the World Cup, if you remember, in the semifinal. They allowed that midfield to have the ball, and they waited for the moments to pounce. Alvarez going the other way. It's typical Argentina. It's a very intelligent team under Scaloni. And I feel that Canada, as expected, fell into the trap.
Oh, big time. Big time. And it's immaturity from Canada. It's immaturity from Jesse Marsch to think that they could play the game they want to play.
Right? It's immaturity.
It's total immaturity.
It's tough, right? It was a decent Canada performance when you think about it. They create enough chances. I don't know what the XG was, but they probably
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Roy a little. I agree with Roy a little bit on this. Like, I think Jesse Marsch getting a second crack at a team. You've seen them once, and it looked very much the same. So you didn't see much difference. Yeah, and
same
giving a second chance, like, you need to do better. I feel like,
And he approached it the same way. He kept trying to play his game. He tried to possess, and you're not going to go if you go hand to hand, face to face with a team 10x your quality. You're going to lose that every time. You have to adjust. You have to give up what you want to do. You have to give up your tactical system for this moment. You play the low block. You play aggressive. You play annoying, and you frustrate the hell out of Argentina. That's the only chance a team like Canada has. If they're going to try to outpossess, build out of the back, it's not going to work. It's not. That's 1 in a million that'll work.
The press worked at times. Argentina was uncharacteristically sloppy. I can't even say the word. Uncharacteristically sloppy, I thought.
They were messy.
That was good. Much better than I did. That was well done. But they were. And Canada created some chances, but you have to take your chances. That Jonathan David chance, it was Jonathan David, right? The ball pops up and he puts it directly in Lamine Yamal. That's the moment, right? That's 1-0 down. That's the moment. Score a goal, and it's a big moment. Play that across the box or something. From that angle, I don't know what he was trying to do with that.
The Kyle Larin Jonathan David combo is going to have to be retired from Canada. Like those two together doesn't work. So we're going to have to figure out something else.
Schaffelberg, man, he's the man. He's the new guy.
He is the man. He is the man.
Yeah.
Does he play up front?
I'd love to see him switch wings if possible. Have Alphonso Davies in the other wing. Have both of them be dangerous wingers.
That's another
play
thing.
With a different left back.
Question Alphonso. I mean, it's unfortunately too had the injury, but for a player as good as he is, you have to question why he didn't have a bigger impact the entire tournament, right? He didn't.
I think it's positioning.
Remember in the World Cup when they played him a little higher up essentially, and he was able to get on the ball a lot and creating chances.
Yep.
I thought he wasn't impactful in any way. And for a player that good, I think you're doing something wrong tactically if you're not seeing him on the ball consistently and being able to make those runs he makes. I don't know what it was, but I've never seen Alphonso Davies this quiet over the course of this many games.
For national team. It's Jesse Marsch playing him in the back.
Yeah.
Simple. So, he's playing him behind Schaffelberg.
But that's where he plays, right? That's his position.
Sure, but for national team, he was playing further up.
Yeah.
For club team, yes. For the best, arguably top 3 club team in the world, sure. You have him left back because you have an exceptional left midfielder in front of him. He doesn't need to play further up. But here, he's the best player on the team by far, the best attacking player on the team by far, and you're hiding him in the left back position. Sure, he's going to get up here and there, but it's not going to be as often as it needs to.
Yeah, let's see what they do. So for Canada, that's the end of this particular part of the tournament. They have a chance at third place, though, because Copa America does have a third and fourth place game. So best of luck to Canada.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
For the third, fourth place game. Should be exciting. Yeah, and,
really impressive.
And of course, Argentina, we'll see you in the final. That's going to be an interesting match, whoever it becomes.
Was there ever a doubt? I mean, I feel like...
No.
They already got their plane tickets. They dressing room is probably already painted with Argentina jerseys and their numbers. I mean, from the beginning of the tournament, it was always. I mean, the finals in Miami.
Yeah.
I just like there was.
It had to be.
It had.
They're that good, man. They're that good.
It had to be. Whether they're that good or not, is determined to be seen. But speaking of good, there's a team out of Europe. We're going to switch to the Euros now. So for those of you who are interested, please stick around because this is a very special episode. We normally split these videos apart. We're doing them together. There was a game today, Spain and France. And for those watching the Euros, there's one team that started off the tournament very hot, and they've continued to do that. And there was another team that came into this match that started the match out very hot. And we thought, okay, which of these two are going to win today? Because you had, Kylian Mbappe, you had the 2 wonder kids on either wings for Spain, Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal. And boys, this was a fascinating match.
It was a fascinating matchup, and it was a fascinating match as well, especially early. Early, it was incredible. I mean, you had on one side, you had the early goal, Colomboane. Finally, France scoring in the open field. Can you believe it? Not from a set piece. They actually scored a goal, and you thought they were going to run away with it. You thought they were going to be cooking some wine, some croissant, everything, the baguette with the Comte. You thought it was going to be a full spread. But then the Spanish wonder kid. I mean, that goal. Can we talk about that goal in that moment? I mean, 16 years old, 16, about to be 17, to come up in that moment with that finish that changed the game.
Semifinal.
It turned everything around, and from then it only ever felt like Spain was going to win the game. Quickly after that, Dani Olmo. I don't know if it's his goal or if it's an own goal. I'm not sure, but it was gorgeous. Never looked like France was getting back in it after that.
Dani almost had a
late chance, but that was it.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that Mbappe late chance, but Dani Olmo has also been having a fantastic tournament. But going back to Lamine Yamal, Roy, I mean, that's incredible as a 16-year-old.
What a magical player, man. 16 years old. That's what this sport needs more of. I wish we saw more from Endrick. Endrick for Brazil was pretty bad all tournament. He had, 0 connected passes or 1 connected pass in his game he started. But he came through for the youth. Every tournaments have team or players to watch out for, the young players to watch out for. One came through. It was Yamal, and he was absolutely phenomenal. And some theme that's been going around. I'm sure you've heard the
again
what?
properly. Say his name
Yamil?
properly.
Yamil?
No, that's not his name. My
Lamine.
goodness.
God, I keep mixing it up, man. It's such an uncommon. I've never heard the name in my life.
You better learn his name because the boy's a star. He's gonna be on every billboard, everywhere. You're gonna know his name pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you're gonna know his name, you know.
But the problem is that I talked to my dad about the games, and he says Yamil Assad, which is a player that played for DC United, an Argentinian guy. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, he is one player that has made a name for himself. He's probably the only one in the tournament in terms of the youth that did that. And there's one theme, one big conversation that's going on, especially with the Euro. Brazil is looped into that conversation as well, is that we're losing the magic in this sport. We're losing the creative beauty. We lost it with Brazil. Brazil is no longer joga bonito, it's joga feo. It's very English. We lost it with Croatia. We lost it with Belgium, even though they didn't ever really have it, but there were signs of it. And I thought we lost it with Spain based on the past few years, the past 5 years. This Spain has that magic. This Spain has that creative, just these magicians. It's absolutely incredible to watch. It's refreshing to watch. And it's something we haven't had in this tournament. And we've rarely had in Copa America as well.
We haven't had it anywhere.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Agreed. So what's interesting though, Rahi, what I thought was when Spain took the lead, then they went back and shifted to more of the tiki-taka style that we've seen, and that's a very dangerous proposition because that means they can attack you on both sides. They can attack you with that, and then they can go back to the possession-based style, which makes it more difficult and limit your chances.
That's what's impressed me so much about this Spanish team is you have two tournaments going on, Copa America and Euro at the same time, and to be candid, the best team in the world right now looks by leaps and bounds like it's Spain. The way they've played, the way they've entertained, but also how intelligent and how smart they've been. I mean, they haven't allowed teams an inch. The maturity to understand we can beat you multiple ways. We have Nico Williams, we have the Wonder Kid, we can attack you to death. But hey, we're up. We're gonna pass it around and be very smart with the ball. The maturity I'm seeing from the Spanish team is incredible. The maturity I'm seeing from the kid himself, Lamine Yamal, is incredible. I don't know if you noticed, but late in the game, he takes the yellow, just grab on sort of. I can't remember who was breaking away. I don't think it was Mbappe, maybe Griezmann. I don't know.
Theo Hernandez.
Theo Hernandez, and he grabs Theo Hernandez. Perfect tactical foul. To know and understand that you have to sacrifice in that way for your team at 16 years old. Dani Carvajal, the last game, taking the red card. It's so intelligent that it's not just what you see sometimes from a guy like Endrick, a guy like, young players in the world, skilled players, right? Even Neymar earlier, just flashy. It's intelligence. It's understanding what it takes to win. It's this Spanish team for me. If the tournament is fair, they should be crowned champions immediately.
Everyone should be rooting for this Spanish team because this Spanish team is showing that creativity still has a place in this game. It's not all about tactical prowess. It's not all about being in the right position at the right time and playing in this little box. It's the sport is becoming frustrating in that sense. Many teams are doing it. Almost all teams are doing it. And Spain is breaking out of that box. So me, as a fan of the beautiful game, as a supporter of this incredible sport, I want Spain to win. I want Spain to send a message to the world, especially to teams like Brazil, to say, hey, there's room for this. There's room for creativity in the attacking third. It's not all about being so tactically sound to find spaces and find goals. It requires this beauty, this other element that's hard to describe. So I love seeing it. I love seeing a team like Spain make it.
Just one final note on France. I think, what was very interesting, there was a very telling moment in this match where, Kylian Mbappe has not a one-on-one, but he does a nice move where he's, on sort of a breakaway against a one-on-one with a defender, cuts inside. And you think if this is Kylian Mbappe 2022 World Cup, that ball is in the back of the net.
100%.
But instead, it was roofed into the, nth deck. And you can just see what a player in a specific moment who's in form, the difference between those two moments. And look, he's a fantastic player. He's going to be back to being, top 1 or 2 in the world. But on this tournament, it just wasn't there for him, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that moment, we've seen that moment so many times. And anyone who's watched the sport, probably their eyes lit up for a minute because they're thinking, here's the tying goal. Cuts in, like that's his bread and butter. He does that all day. But how many times this tournament have we seen him get in positions like that and do exactly what he did in this game, which is blaze it over?
Yeah.
He's certainly a player who is incredible. He's just been a little out of form. And you do wonder, this year at PSG wasn't the best year. Has he stayed too long at a club that is probably below his level? He's not going to be there anymore. Let's see how it goes. But you do feel that he wasn't the sharpest. It wasn't a sharp Mbappe, and it wasn't a sharp France. And they kind of stumbled their way through to the semis, but they lost, and they deserved to lose.
Yep. It was a boring France, frustrating to watch, a shell of their 2022 selves. Mbappe leading the charge in terms of disappointing players in this tournament. He had an unbelievably bad tournament for a player of his caliber. Yes, they blamed the mask. I secretly thought that the mask would empower him, that it would be this icon for generations to come, that the image of this mask would be, kids around the world would want to wear it in their games. He had that opportunity to create a new movement in the world of soccer with kids everywhere, but he stunk. He freaking stunk up the field, and it was so frustrating. But that's the way the game is.
He had a nice assist after removing the mask, something you could see, and then he saw Colomani.
But the big question, guys, big question with Mbappe playing poorly, with England playing the way they've been playing and somehow sneaking through, who's going to get the Ballon d'Or? I know Bellingham's in that conversation. I know Mbappe's in that conversation, but do either of them deserve to be in that conversation, given how they've been?
We'll see.
I don't know.
A few more games left, and it'll be interesting who's left standing, right?
Let's talk after Sunday. Let's talk after Sunday and see how it goes. Well, anyway, so that was an exciting day of football / soccer action all over the world, from the European Championships to the Copa America. We will be back tomorrow. 2 separate videos, of course, covering Euro and Copa America. But it's few exciting matches. If you've been enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. And boys, more action tomorrow. Get ready to sleep your way through the England match, unless the Netherlands can make it exciting. And at night, let's just hope there's not 5,000 fouls between Colombia and Uruguay. So we'll see how that one goes.
I mean, I think today we could say vamos, because both winners would say that.
Yes. And let's go Netherlands, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's keep it exciting in that final.
All right. So vamos Copa America and vamos Eurocopa.
Wow.